music chooses you and not the other way around. It's like a piece of your body.
In Cape Town, South Africa, we find Liesl Stoltz, a local flutist and lecturer at the South African College of Music, which is a part of the University of Cape Town.
There isn't any CD yet with a lot of South African works, so I decided to record it, that there finally is something that they can listen to. I'm constantly looking for South African works for my students to play because they're required to play it as part of the exam or at local music competitions.
Liesl's aim is to promote South African flute music, which finally culminated into this CD that featured local composition.
We had a whole pool of music to choose from, and it's always difficult to decide which works should go on the CD. I gave several concerts with different programs, and I sort of listened what the audience's response was to the works.
I really consider Liesl my musical sister, so it's effortless to play with Liesl.
Liesl's hope is to provide a reference that showcases South African composers for future generations of students, the global market, and classical music audiences.
Well, I hope that the CD will bring respect to our composers, which they deserve, and will also help to promote their music and themselves overseas and locally, and that flutists in our country and overseas will play their music.
I hope the CD will simply expose more people to South African flute music, more flute players, perhaps even more importantly, because they ultimately become the conveyors of this message to other places in South Africa and in the world.
There's a lot of young South African composers that are really trying to make their way in the industry, and I think having the example of performers recording maybe their predecessors or their teachers' works makes them feel capable of writing their own music and helps them feel encouraged.
Well, I think it's every composer's dream to be put on a CD. It is perhaps the ultimate way to bring your music to people.
UCT was very much involved in the whole project. I was a postdoctoral fellow at the college since 2011, and I had a A.W. Mellon Foundation grant for 2 years. So I could really not do this project if it wasn't for that grant.
A concert is always a once-off, and it comes and it goes, and the people who are there might appreciate it, but yes, they can only store it in their memories. And a CD, of course, is a much more physical way of storing music.
The CD is due for release in January 2015. Liesl hopes that it will open up many doors for South African musicians and composers.
I hope that people will buy the CD, and give South African classical serious music sort of a chance.